Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the channel. If you're first timers, subscribe and hit the notification bell because we're going to take you for a ride. We've got Miss Susan Wells, longtime teacher, then principal, and then now she's got her true calling as an intuitive, and she's going to tell us about her journey. Now, she says that her brother Peter died a few years ago, and apparently Erik and him are like this, thick as thieves, both goofy. You guys know Erik, okay? Erik, by the way, for those who don't know his name, is my son that is on the afterlife with Peter. So tell us your journey and tell us your specialty. I know it has to do with children, which of course is an easy to figure that out since you're a teacher.
Yes. Well, I actually I went to college to be a teacher, but then got sidetracked when I had kids, and ended up being a potter and making sculptures.
Hmm.
And while I was raising my kids, I had a substantial pottery studio.
My
And
sister Terry in Topanga, California, same thing.
really,
Yeah.
that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, but being in the studio and working with my right brain, I just started kind of really, that's when my intuition started coming in. And I began to hear this lady constantly talking to me, and it turned out to be Hildegard von Bingen.
Oh, we interviewed her.
I
Fascinating.
know. I listened to that.
You
That
did?
was
So,
great.
well, that's interesting you should say that. I didn't think about that, but I can see if somebody does something creative, takes on something extremely creative, that they would tap into that intuitive nature. That's quite I've
Yes.
never heard that before, but it totally makes
Yes.
sense.
Well, I was channeling her and writing and writing and writing. And finally I was like, who are you? And I looked up at my bookshelf, and a friend of mine had given me that historical novel about her. And the book, it didn't literally jump off the shelf, but it just sent me right to that book, and I realized it was her.
Oh,
Um, so that's how I started really listening and being able to, I learned or remembered that back in the day, God wasn't way up there. It was in the things that we put into clay,
oh,
and we could put dreams and visions and promises and hopes and things into clay. And then the clay became God
yeah.
or
And I'm sure
goddess.
that's true of every media,
Yeah.
paintings, sculpture,
Yes.
you also have done. That's cool.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so then my kids grew up, and they're fabulous adults now. And when they grew up, I realized that I really missed being a lot with people. And so I decided to go back into teaching, which is I went to college for biology and chemistry, thinking I was going to teach those subjects. So I ended up teaching in an elementary school and getting a second degree. And really kind of, I was doing an intuitive business at the time, but once I went into the public school, I actually just kind of closed down my public face of that and just continued with private readings. I was afraid of being weird.
Well, yeah, I mean the woo-woo people
Yes.
call it. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I didn't,
it's the bleeding
I,
edge. It's the
yeah.
bleeding edge. It takes courage a lot.
It does. And I didn't want that to kind of affect my relationships with families.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
So I kind of shut my public face of that down, although I didn't quite shut it down. And then during COVID, I ended up getting a master's in ed leadership and became a principal. And because I've really felt like I wanted to have a bigger impact, because I've loved the classroom, but I just wanted to have a bigger impact in terms of social emotional learning. Um, because really that's where we need to go in education.
I agree.
But then I became a principal and realized that it's not for me.
Why?
I, well, really, the box is not for me. The box is if somebody misbehaves, I have to suspend them.
Mm,
And really where I live, on an island in Maine, there's a lot of poverty here.
oh,
And really the students need a therapeutic environment,
yeah.
but I was being forced by my boss to suspend them, or even like pressure from parents, and even the teachers, wanted, there to be punishment, was really, it's typically when somebody misbehaves, it's a cry for help.
Yeah, of course. And so you weren't allowed to be the light worker you were meant to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. It's true. So I actually resigned, and ever since I resigned, everything's been opening up again. I
Hallelujah.
mean, everything opened up when I decided to teach, but I think it was just, everybody, you know, all my invisible friends back here sending me on this trail of really being able to support children in a bigger way.
Good.
And a long time ago, I heard that I heard from Metatron, he has this booming voice for me, that he and I are going to work together. But I've been checking in with him. When is it going to, are we ready yet? And when I resigned, he came,
Um,
and he and Erik and my brother and my other teammates here have really been pushing me towards making a difference for kids on a more international level. So I'm working on starting a school to teach children how to be intuitive.
wow.
And I reopened my website, susanwellsintuitive.com, by the way. And
Okay,
right now,
we're going to put that in the description box and we'll also put it on the screen of
okay,
this YouTube. So,
okay, awesome. Thank you. Yeah, so I really, even though I do primarily work with adults right now, in helping with their children or helping with groups of children or adults in their situations, I really want to have another big facet where we are working directly with children to teach them or expand on their current knowledge of how to be intuitive. And I've been getting a bunch of downloads about that, and that's kind of a work in progress. I may not be ready to launch it for a full year. We'll
you know,
see.
yeah, interesting about Metatron. One time, I did some scalar work, energy repair, protection, and enhancement on her household, and she freaked out because the next morning, this dark figure, huge figure, was looming over her at her bedside. And I asked Eric who it was. It's Metatron visiting. It's
Yes,
like, hey, we did it. And so now I asked members of the divine team I work with, and yeah, be sure you try to give some sort of sign of your presence, your existence that, shortly after the work is done. And so they do. So it's cool.
that's amazing.
But she
Yeah,
thought, oh my God, you didn't get rid of all the evil in my house. I said, did he seem evil? No, he seemed really nice.
yeah. I've heard recently that sometimes the goodness comes to us in the darkness, but it's because they're so bright, we can't compute that kind of light. So sometimes we compute a shadow.
Oh yeah. That makes sense. Wow.
Yeah, it does. It does. So I'm working on a book that's going to be for children, but mostly for the adults who work with children.
Oh.
And there's this collective that I've been hearing about, and it's the Crystal Children Collective.
Hmm.
And these children aren't here yet.
Oh, really? I heard
Yeah.
that there's some special group of kids coming in. Wow.
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
not quite here yet, but they are here to work with those of us who are here to support them and those of us who are here struggling.
Oh,
Oh my God,
I
on earth.
know. I know. Just sit and give me the cliff notes next time, okay?
Right, right, right. But, in raising my own kids, I don't like to live a life of regrets, but, wouldn't it have been so much easier if we would have had skills to,
Hmm.
you know, and I hate to say teach our children how to be intuitive because they come in that way, but
Awaken their abilities.
right.
Help them
And
awaken.
right. And expand them.
Yeah.
So I've been feeling, even though people keep saying the world is a mess, what are we going to do? I don't know. I can't see that for some reason. I
Good.
see so many signs of goodness and positivity in the world with all the movies that are on about fairies and how there's been a big expansion with all sorts of magical things that you
Yeah,
can
we
find
need
online.
that. We need that. There always
Yeah.
has to be a yin and yang. We need and I think the problem is not, it's not a problem, but when the light shines brighter, the dark reacts violently. And I think that's part of what we're seeing. But sometimes you have to create chaos in order for things to settle down and rebuild in a better way. So there's all sorts of reasons, I think, for the confusion that's in our civilization as humanity. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my big question right now is how do, what's the biggest impact we can have for children? And right now, I thought I could do that in the public school. Um,
No, that's too much of a muggle job. Muggle job, no way.
it is. It is. I
Did
thought
you
I
try
could.
and get slapped back?
Pardon?
Did you try anything and they slapped you back?
Nothing. No,
Okay,
no. It
good.
was nothing that I've ever done in the public school has been kind of outward. It's just been, I listen to my friends and they tell me, how to support kids and teachers. And really, I just got, people didn't want that support.
It's
They,
like
because
about homeless
like I said,
people.
they have these old-fashioned ways of
Mhm.
doing it, and that just is, the only way.
It's like homeless people. A lot of them don't want to get off the streets. And the biggest factor there is mental illness, or in a way, our educational system has a mental illness, the inability um, to awaken children to their gifts, the ability to have a spiritual life. So yeah, that's
Yeah, and actually, I mean, you're right, it is a mental illness, and it also is the design. In Education 101,
yeah,
public education was designed to create dumb factory workers.
I know that's true.
And we've really never gotten away from that.
Yeah.
I do see some really positive signs.
Like what?
Like, there's something called responsive classroom
Hmm.
that is a curriculum to teach children basically how to run their own classroom.
Oh,
And, the children create their own rules with these processes, guided by the adults.
yeah.
But that is growing, response and lots of social emotional learning. But I guess for me, it just wasn't fast enough.
I know. I know. I can imagine. Oh my goodness. Yeah,
Yeah.
punished by there's so many books that I've read about teaching, like one that how we create phobia in kids, how we are punishing them with rewards and of course disabling them with punishment when they really need support and a kind ear.
Yes, and we teach them to expect exterior motivation.
Yeah.
We teach them to expect other people telling them, are you doing good or are you doing bad,
Yeah.
rather than intrinsic motive. The kids, in these classrooms, I mean, with some of these new social emotional learning curriculum, the
Yeah.
classrooms can be really designed to where the kids are looking to themselves.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the basis of all three of my books. Well, three or four. Um, this was the first one, Raising Children to Think for Themselves, Raising Everyday Heroes, and then Hearing is Believing is kind of the language that you must have. Like
Yes.
there are two ways to belong to a pack. We're pack animals. You can conform and please the pack. That's external direction. Or you can come up with some meaningful contribution to the pack so that you are free to use your own inner compass and be self-directed. And so certain words like even so something simple like I'm so proud of you, that creates external direction.
Yes.
Instead of saying, I picture proud, so they reflect inwardly on their abilities and all that. I won't go on my
Yeah.
soapbox, but I learned that from all the mistakes I made raising 5 kids.
Oh, the mistakes we have made. Well, like I said, I mean, there is hope for the public schools. I don't think it's all bad. Um, and I feel like for me and my skills, I really do see that we are ready there are families ready and
Yeah.
children ready to really be in small, connected environments, almost like the schools I'm thinking about are more like after school and summer school programs
Yeah.
so that, I believe in the three R's, believe me.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I I love education and kids get to know how to read and write and be in community. And I feel like if I can't get in there in the public school, then I'm thinking tutoring after school and summer programs where kids are really taught to hone the skills that they already have
Mhm.
and expand on them. And also have a group of friends that are doing that also,
Yes.
so that they can have peers.
Yeah.
Because I know that there are kids who watch these programs, about witches and vampires,
Oh,
and
yeah. You'll
it's
love
a
it.
growing thing of spells.
Mhm.
The kids want to make spells, and
And
they're
my
really
eldest granddaughter is into that. She makes
yes,
the spell books and all sorts of stuff. It's kind of cool. But yeah.
it is. So I think we're leaning towards a time where those students aren't going to be weird.
I know, I agree. Especially if you have, I love social learning, social group learning, because my son Lucas, he was the smartest one in the class. So he would teach the other people in his little study group, but in a way, because he was having to resynthesize the information and present it to his peers, he was able to embed it better. So
Yeah.
it helped all of them, really.
Yeah, it does. Well, I think that I mean, I haven't really heard in the United States of a group of people teaching children. I actually did a Google search on it when I heard from Metatron, blah, 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 let's do this together. I was like, well, who else is doing this?
I don't think there is. I
I
mean,
couldn't find anything. I
we were
mean,
talking
maybe like
about,
a weekend sort of workshop-y
yeah.
thing, at not necessarily church, but a spiritual collective or something. But there isn't, as far as I could find, there's no group of people really teaching kids
Well,
how to.
it's interesting you say that. Early on, um, maybe a couple of years after Eric died, I thought we should have like a charter school with a spiritually based curriculum where they learn the three R's and all that stuff, but they also learn how to heal themselves and others, how to do
Yes.
nonviolent communication, how to uh, everything, channel, whatever. I mean, just to figure out what their spiritual gifts are. So as an elective. No, but there's so
Yes.
much that we can teach our kids, and you're on the right path. That is awesome.
Well,
But it was too
hopefully.
expensive. I couldn't do it. Didn't have enough time. So
Yeah, I worked at a school that was a charter school that was just started. I worked there the first year. It is a big effort.
yeah. Oh God, yeah.
It's a big
The
effort.
bureaucracy, the government, all that. I hope
Yeah.
to get rid of the board of the Department of Education. That should go to the local communities. All that power, shouldn't say that word. All that control, shouldn't even say that word, should go to a local level because nobody knows their communities best than the locals, even if it's city, town, or even state, better than federal. So yeah, it's too much gets lost in the translation. It's like playing
Yes.
operator. All of a sudden it
Yes.
sits down here. It's like, what? Yeah.
Well, I agree with you. And I also feel like there needs to be a more equitable distribution of resources
Yes. Right.
because that is key.
Yeah.
And that, the inequitable distribution right now does a great job of creating an enormous underclass
Mm,
of people who, can't read and write.
that's terrible. I read
Yeah.
somewhere that 40% of some particular school, high school, I think it was, couldn't read at all. I mean, and 0% proficiency in math. It's really scary. So the resources, we need to give more to the impoverished because frankly, a lot of times those are single parent homes or they work together. They don't have the time to help with their children's education.
Yes,
It
right.
should ultimately be responsibility of the parents in a way, but then the rich people, they can hire tutors. A lot of times one of the parents can stay at home and go over the homework and all that stuff. A lot of the times they're more educated, so they actually know fourth grade math.
Right. And they have books at home
You have
and
books in the home,
they
yeah,
have paper at home. They have writing
yeah,
utensils. They have, electronic things
yeah,
besides, an iPhone,
yeah,
um, that, you know, computers and things that they use for academic activities.
yeah.
But that's another thing is that what, what I don't think we really are clear about is how detrimental video games are.
Oh God, yeah. Oh. Rewires
I
the
mean,
brain. It's really bad.
and it's
And
bad.
even being on
And
electronics, period.
the content is
Yeah.
powerfully violent. I
Mm.
mean, I didn't, they have cute names. Cute names. Like started to hear the kids talk about these cutesy names that I don't even want to say out loud. I thought, oh, that's adorable. That sounds like a fun. And then I looked one up because anyway, one of the kids that wasn't jiving with cutesy, and it's completely violent.
Yeah.
A lot of them have just all kinds of implements of death and destruction and
What is a perfect place for when it's an online game like Minecraft? There are pedophiles that troll these
yes.
little kids online. So yeah, it's no,
Yeah.
not good.
I see you have a friend back there.
I do. Oh, those. Yeah. Hi, babies. They're waiting for mommy. So, okay, let's talk more about the spiritual school that you are about to start, and you're going to start it.
Yeah, so what I'm thinking of is again, it'll be a model like after school and summer program.
Okay.
So when students aren't in regular school. And I want to develop these processes to teach kids to look inside.
Yeah.
So for some of the time, they'll need to be possibly blindfolding,
Mm,
possibly, having, head canceling or sound canceling headphones.
I like that
Headphones.
idea. Yeah.
Um, and there are going to be processes where, step by step, the students begin to trust their own intuition. So that by the end of the series, I don't know how long it would be necessarily, but not years.
No,
Um,
kids
more
pick
like,
it up pretty quickly.
I think so. I think so. And I'm thinking kids, probably age 6 or 7 up to 18.
Mm,
Um, I think the earlier teen years might be easier than the later teen years.
probably.
I might focus
Trying
on
to
the
get to
earlier
that
one.
age. Yeah, they've heard who they actually are, who they're supposed to be from their siblings, from their
Right,
parents, from magazines, from TV, from iPad, from TikTok. I'm supposed to be like this. They don't have any idea who what their authentic self is.
right.
Very
Yeah.
difficult.
So I'm thinking small groups of students and working together with so maybe like a 1-to-4 ratio, 1 adult to 4 students.
Not nice. Yeah.
Um, And ultimately, I see that people are ready for this, that there's a critical mass of people, maybe not within the public school, but that within several cities,
Yeah.
I think it can grow to be a national or international activity.
Are you thinking about this being online predominantly?
No,
Okay.
no.
You need that, hands, yeah. Well, to
I
put
think we need
yeah.
to be together. It's not like maybe there could be an online component, but I think the vast majority of it would need to be in person.
I so agree. So do you think that you're gonna have the groups of four of the same group, or would you do it like very young and more to the older spectrum of ages? Uh, to me,
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that the process is probably going to be not necessarily driven by age.
okay.
I think it can be streamlined I think the kids will want to work together. And even if we do separate them by age, I think that the processes will be very similar. The younger ones are probably, or I mean, it's really going to depend on the kids too,
Well, that's true.
because you may have kids come in that already are tuned in.
Yeah.
And, the parents might want them to come because they're like, oh, I'm thinking something. And my kid in the backseat of the car is like thinking the same thing
Oh,
too.
wow. Wow.
Take
That's
it
so
easy, mom,
cool.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
That is so cool.
Um, so I'm thinking there will probably need to be an assessment ahead of time
Yeah.
to find out where the students are.
From the parents, or would you also include the students in that
It could
assessment?
be both of them.
Okay.
So, yeah, so it probably both. It's like a questionnaire that the student would answer and the parent would answer. And
Okay.
we could combine those two assessments to then place the student.
What about
Because
small
we wouldn't
children?
want to, I don't know,
Yeah.
it might not make sense to place a student who's already kind of using their skills and conscious of it with somebody who is
Oh,
interested.
that sounds good, really. You have somebody who does, and they can influence the others and make them feel brave about looking into their own abilities, having the courage.
Yes, there could be some overlap. I mean, that's how it works when we combine classrooms.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I've taught in several combined classrooms,
Oh,
and
wow.
it's can be very helpful. But at the same time, there are moments when you're teaching the younger kids right where they are.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it can be pretty useful to meet somebody exactly where they are and target their instruction. Um, so it could be, that I mean, I guess I'm thinking out loud right now that if we had these targeted instruction times and then the students could get together
Yeah, that sounds good.
for like playtime, but like guided intuitive playtime.
I like it. Oh, learning how to meditate. I think kids need to learn how to meditate.
Yes.
I think is that something that would be on the radar for your school?
Yes, well, and they would be guided meditations
Yeah,
using
good. Yeah.
headphones and guided I mean, I haven't heard them yet, but one of the things I haven't downloaded those yet, but one of the things I'm wondering about is if I received the transcript and then had a student record it, a young person's voice.
Oh, that's a good idea. I have this one meditation thing that, I mean, it has so many people, it's everything. Meditation, guided meditation. What's the name of that thing? It's but it has one to help you find your authentic self, use
Yes.
the time. What the heck is the name of that thing? I don't know. But it's
Well,
very
if you
helpful.
think of it, maybe put it in the comments or something
Sure.
or down below
Right,
because
yeah,
I'd
yeah,
be
yeah.
interested in that. I'm sure other people would too.
It's oh, I know what it is. Insight training.
Okay.
It's, but it looks like a little Tibetan bowl or some sort of bowl. But yeah, insight training. I'm waiting it. I'm waiting for it to load, which means, as you know, I probably should have not been doing it for a while, but installing. But yeah, it's very cool. But yeah, I think that's very important. And also, I think it's important for kids to recognize the danger of victimhood. Like in my scalar service, I ask the higher self to it comes up with little quotes and stuff. But anyways, it's really good. New courses, all sorts. Um, but to relinquish the mentality of victimhood, because a lot of people, whether they have a history of abuse or whatever, they have an unhealthy identification with that problem, that disorder, that illness, even if it's diabetes, whatever.
Yeah.
And so they need to relinquish that because they need to get rid of the comfort they feel and feeling ill and being ill or being
Yes.
or being
Yep.
traumatized or whatever. So, and that's part of being self-directed, like you said, being able to like guide yourself. Don't depend on this whole story that has marred your life, or marred your body,
Right.
whatever.
And how we can, even within that story, how we can almost have fun or make a game of getting out of it or transforming it, transmuting things.
Yeah, I like that idea. Yeah, very good. So are you going to seek any kind of funding, crowdsourcing or anything to make this happen?
I think so. I'm not sure yet because I don't have quite the basis. And right now I'm living on an island in Maine and I'm deciding
Nice. Mm,
it is nice.
yeah.
It's very nice. It's beautiful every single day.
Oh my God. What's the name of the island?
Deer Isle.
Oh yeah, Deer
D
Isle. Yeah, I
yeah.
remember. Yeah, I have a couple of clients from Deer Isle. But anyway, that's awesome.
I'm one of them.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember. Oh, hell, getting old. How many people are on Deer Isle?
In the winter about 2000
Mhm.
and it can double in the summer.
Wow. Maine is so beautiful. It really reminds me of Norway, where we have a little mountain cabin up in the tundra and stuff. It's just off the grid and nice. So innocent.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
kids need to tap into their inner innocence too.
That is true. And that's what looking inward can really do
Yeah.
because there's so much outward that blocks that innocence
Mm,
and kids working together.
yeah. And I think organized religion did a lot of harm in creating in kids too this sense of this illusion of separation from the divine. When really
Yes.
it's all in us, okay? We are whole and part of God, and we need to teach our kids. You are
Yeah.
whole part of the creator, okay?
Yeah.
You know, and what organized religion says, nope, no, this is God. Only the Pope and this person, whatever, can talk to him, and you must pay indulgences if you want to go to heaven. So it's just
Yeah.
not good.
I was baptized Episcopalian,
Really?
and my mother said that they said I was full of sin.
It's terrible. You're
And
born
she
into
thought to
sin.
herself, how could this child be full of sin right now?
It's terrible. Well, I was raised, not raised Catholic, but my father's from Spain, and my great uncle was Cardinal of Spain. Anyway, so we went to Mass all in Latin, like the first 5 years of my life. But my parents took us each separately in a room and said, "Do you really want to go to church?" And I was thinking, well, it seems like every time we went to church, we drive by y'all's clinic and you'd catch up on our immunizations. So no. But I said, well, I don't want to go to hell. And my dad said, there is no such thing. Jackie, you don't want to go. It was that was the end of my organized religion thing.
Well, good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just dipped my toes in the water of it a couple times, and my
Yeah.
mom, wanted me to be confirmed because
Yeah.
I don't know, it was part of a process, but we never really went to church.
Yeah, well, in Norway, you christen the kids, so they were or baptized. I think it's Lutheran, but they don't go otherwise unless you're something's really wrong with you and you're a fanatic. That's what they say. Then you go to church all the time, and I say there's a purpose for that for people too. I mean, it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it works for some people. I'm not against other people going.
Oh no, no. And it was useful in taming civilization a bit, the barbarism. So it helped in a way,
Yeah,
but then again, how many people died because of religion over the centuries? A lot.
yeah,
On all religions. I don't
yeah.
know where we're going, why I'm taking you on this. Oh yeah, I know what I want to ask. Tell me about your kids. Do any of them have gifts or want to develop them?
My son does. He was born like, the babies are born. And when I held him, he looked at me and I was like, oh God. I
Wow.
felt like I was looking at me. And I didn't, I thought I was going to be above him, like be the mother.
Yeah.
No. He was like looking right at me.
I'm your
And
equal.
yes,
Was that your younger or your eldest?
he's my eldest.
Eldest, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, and he's very intuitive. He's 31 this year and just a bright, full of life. He
Mhm.
definitely, walks to his own
Good. Beat of his own drum.
drummer. Yeah, beat of his own drum.
Does he want to get into it, that professionally?
I don't. He's never said that. He does read cards and he sends me little readings that he's done for
Oh,
himself sometimes. And we have a magical connection as a teenager because we were so in tune with one of each other. It was almost like who is who, and it was hard to
wow.
differentiate. And anyway, when he was 17, he differentiated.
Oh yeah, right. They have to eventually. Wow, that's something else. But I think,
Um,
yeah.
but my daughter, we adopted her.
Mhm.
It was kind of kismet or something. I don't know. When I was pregnant with my son, we got married, and then our son was born on our anniversary.
Wow, that's cool.
So I was still in college and working, and it was a big deal to do that.
Yeah, of course.
And I thought, can't we have another child by somebody else?
Yeah, oh yeah, really. Why do I have to do all the work? Yeah.
I know. So we looked into adopting, and somehow, even though we were young and stupid and poor, we adopted our daughter. And of course, it's a spiritual contract.
Of course, yeah.
Um, but she is my child.
Oh, cool.
I was able to nurse her because
Oh,
I got
no.
her as she was born,
Oh,
and she is now runs an animal sanctuary.
so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I had not become a doctor, I think I would have done something like that or been a nurse or a teacher. Those would have been my choices. Yeah. I want to go to that animal sanctuary where they take care of orphaned orangutans. Orangutans. Oh my
Oh, where is that?
God. I don't know, somewhere in Africa, but they're so cute. Oh my God. Anyway, my maternal instincts. I might start lactating any minute. No, I'm kidding.
I know, I feel it too.
Anything else you want to talk about before we tell people more,
Um,
remind people of the site?
yeah, just that I guess I just want to say if there are other people who are interested in working with kids, there is a groundswell
Mm,
of those of us who are interested in nurturing children for who they came as they came in.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, what you should do is when it gets going, you send me the information and we can make a constant contact flyer and send it out to the peeps. And also,
Okay.
that also goes to social media as well. And this YouTube also. So you guys hit the notification bell because we're going to have her back, especially when she is ready to announce the school. And I'm sure there'll be people who want to join you in force, not
I
just
hope
the
so.
clients.
I hope so. Yeah, it's not going to be a
Yeah,
one gal show.
right, right. All right, that's
Yep.
good. All right, Susan, how can they get in touch with you again? Empower.
SusanWellsIntuitive.com.
That's right. That's so easy. All right. Right. Thank you, Susan. Oh my God, it's such an honor to meet somebody who loves kids as much as I do,
All right.
who honors them and sees them as equals or sometimes superior. I don't believe in gradation, nor does Eric. But
Yeah.
Eric, what do you think about her? I know you journal, so what does Eric say?
Oh, he says things that are fresh right now,
Oh,
actually.
okay. We'll save it for another
Yeah, but no,
time.
it's all good. It's all good.
All right, good. All right, thank you. And Eric, I love you.
All right. I love you, Mom. And
Oh,
thank you, Elisa.
you bet. I'm so excited for you and therefore for the world. Thank you. Bye.